So today we'll be talking about the Hollyland Lark A1 as released by Hollyland in mid-2020. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Bashola Victor, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Hollyland Lark A1, a compact wireless microphone system that has been getting a lot of attention from content creators. So if you're someone who shoots YouTube videos, logs, vlogs, interview, or even social media content, audio quality is everything. You can have great visuals, but if your audio sounds bad, people will click off. That's where something like the Hollyland Lark A1 comes in. Let's start with the design. Right out of the box, this thing is super compact and lightweight. It is easy to carry around and it doesn't feel bulky at all. The transmitter clips onto your shirt easily and it's pretty discreet, which I like, especially if you don't want a big mic showing in your shot. Setup is honestly one of the best parts. It's basically here we have the Hollyland app, as you can see. Yeah, you can download it from Play Store or App Store, and immediately you download it and you connect your receiver to your phone. It detects it immediately. As you can see, I currently have one of the mics connected, and it has 3 levels of noise cancellation. I see set to strong here. I can set to weak, medium, strong. Set to weak. And it has level audio adjustments, then mono or stereo. Stereo is if you have two. If you have 2 speakers, you can have like a form of surround sound, and you can mute. Then you have EQ adjustment. Yeah, you can turn on the reverb. So today we're going to be testing out the noise cancellation feature of the Hollyland Lark A1. It can be activated through the tap of a button here or through the Hollyland Lark app. So as you can hear, I have music playing in the background and I'll be testing the noise cancellation level. It is currently set to medium on the Hollyland app. So with the tap of a button, noise cancellation feature is turned on. How does the audio sound like? I can't hear it from you, but how does it sound like to you? This is with the noise cancellation on. This is with the noise cancellation switched off. Is there any difference? How does it sound like? So we're gonna be testing out the noise cancellation feature of the Hollyland Lark A1. As you can see, I have background noises, the birds chirping at my background. So we'll be testing it with the press of a button. The noise cancellation feature comes on, and just like that we have the noise cancellation feature. How does it sound like? The set is currently set to medium on the Hollyland app. How does it sound? There are still birds chirping at the background. Let me know how it sounds like. And this is without noise cancellation turned on. This is with noise cancellation turned on. So testing out the distance range of the Hollyland Lark A1, how far the audio can reach to where there's a yellow, a green plastic. There's about 60 to 70 meters. So this is about, let's say, 30 or 40 meters. How does the audio quality sound like? This is about maybe 80 meters. How does the audio quality sound like coming from the Hollyland Lark A1? Let's say give or take 100 meters. How does the sound quality sound like coming from the Hollyland Lark A1? I think for the price, the Hollyland Lark A1 is really worth it. A price tag of about $60 to $70, offering pro level audio at a budget, a lot of features. I think it's really worth it. Let me know if you'll be getting the Hollyland Lark A1 in the comments below, and if you already have it, let me know your experience. Peace out.